So can you create a makeup look using no foundation where it still looks flawless, where your skin still looks like skin, but it just looks better, and you're using minimal concealer? Yes, you can. So continue watching to see exactly how to do this yourself. So we're starting with nothing on the face. We're gonna go straight in with skincare. And the first thing that I'm gonna use is my Charlotte Tilbury Glow Toner. Now this is something that kind of like softens your skin. It's got a bit of niacinamide in there, which is always good. It's basically for us to really make sure that our skin is looking the best, because obviously we're not gonna be putting foundation on. We are gonna be using as little concealer as we possibly can. And it's also about using the right type of concealer. So it doesn't mean because you're not wearing foundation, you wanna jump straight to the full coverage concealer. So I'm going to show you how you can get a really nice look without foundation. Usually I feel like those days for me are when I'm feeling like this, where I know my grays are coming through a little bit. I'm just not feeling, you know, like I'm looking my best. I also want to make sure that I'm kind of like not plastering on the makeup, because it just might be that kind of day where you just don't want to do that. Or maybe you just want to make it more of a kind of regular thing, not having to wear foundation. Okay, so we're really just pressing that into the skin. I feel like my skin is just gonna drink that right up because it's feeling a little bit dehydrated today. I'm also gonna just use a little bit of my Rhode Peptide Lip Treatment. Okay, also gonna be putting my moisturizer on. I'm using my Rhode Barrier Restore Cream. See, I can already see that my skin is looking a lot better with that glow tonic. I am also going to be using a few new products today. Well, they're new to me. I don't know if they're new to you guys based in the US, but we've only just recently launched Kosas here in our region. And yeah, it's really exciting because I've heard so much about it. And I've actually seen some comments from you guys asking if I've tried the concealer and the foundation and some bits from Kosas, which I hadn't before, but I've been using some of it and it is so good. Concealer is amazing, but I'm not using that concealer today. I am going to be using my Hollywood Flawless Filter in number 5 from Charlotte Tilbury before I go in with a little bit of concealer. Now this is really going to help to give the skin that really nice kind of glow, as well as what we've already got, but just make it look a bit more kind of filtered without any kind of coverage. But I'm not going to be applying this everywhere on the face. I am just going to focus on applying this on certain areas. You've seen me use this everywhere on the face before. And that's usually when I'm going in with like a really nice kind of decent amount of foundation. But here I just want to apply this on some areas. So mainly my kind of like upper cheekbones. I'm probably going to put a little bit on my forehead there, chin, and that's it. You can use your finger to just kind of like blend this in. It kind of blends in really easily. I would suggest trying to keep this away from any kind of texture, so I'm really kind of putting it a lot higher than usual because, like I said, we're not really going to be covering up everything. So just try and keep it away from any obvious texture because it is going to make it look a bit more obvious. Whatever's left on your hand, I'm just going to take that on the brows there. You might want to actually go in with this after your concealer as well, because you might find it easier to apply it then. But you can see we've got this really nice glow in certain areas. Now the reason I put it on the chin and forehead is because that's going to help to really elongate the face. So if I just have it here, it's just a bit kind of obvious. I want to create that really nice dimension on the face. So that's why I've applied it on those areas too. Now you want to let that dry down a bit before you actually go in with your concealer. When it comes to your concealer, we'll talk about that while we're letting this kind of dry. When it comes to your concealer, you want to use a concealer which is kind of like light to medium coverage. Now if you don't have a lot to cover in terms of, if you don't have to worry about severe dark circles or discoloration on the face, even that I think you could do with a light one, like a light coverage concealer. But if you don't have to worry about that, then I feel like you can use a light coverage concealer. If you feel that your dark circles and kind of discoloration and everything, hyperpigmentation is a lot harder to deal with, then I suggest going for a medium coverage concealer. Now the whole point of this look is so that it looks natural. It doesn't look like we've just got a full kind of base on. You're creating that dimension with different kind of finishes of products in certain areas. So normally with foundation, we kind of like paint it all on, right? Or use a sponge. And then you've got a veil of color all over the face. So you're kind of like applying that kind of finish to the skin all over, and then you create a bit more dimension. You bring the dimension back into the skin with things like contour, blush, highlight, etc. Now what we want to do here is we really want to focus on actually keeping the dimension there from the start and not covering everything up. So we're not applying this kind of sheet of foundation to get rid of all the dimension. We're actually keeping it there, but we're using certain products to apply just in certain areas, not everywhere, to kind of enhance that dimension, but also kind of cover up the areas that we need to cover. This is about playing with what you already have and trying to make the best of it. So I'm going to be using a medium coverage concealer. I'm using my YSL All Hours concealer because I actually think that this is a pretty good concealer. Even though you might have seen me talk about this previously, and I feel like on its own, it's not like the most amazing coverage. I feel like when you spray your beauty blender with the one size spray and then you apply this concealer, it is amazing coverage. But the fact that it isn't amazing coverage is why I want to use it today, because it gives me that kind of just the amount that I need, you know, for being able to do this look. The shade I'm going to be using is MW9. This is very close to my skin color. So, you know, usually when you're using a concealer, especially when you're kind of highlighting with it, like using it as a contour, you would usually go for something which is just slightly lighter than your skin tone. With this look, we want to use something which is very close to our skin tone, because we're not kind of focusing on trying to contour much. We are going to be doing that, but very, very subtle. But we really want to use the concealer just for the coverage wherever we need it, but in a very, very kind of light-handed way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the back of my hand. We're not going to be applying this directly to the skin, because the minute you apply it directly to the skin, you know you're going all in with that kind of coverage, and it can end up being a lot more. So apply it to the back of your hand first, because that allows you to be a lot more light-handed with it. Now, this is where I really want you to look in the mirror and really kind of analyze your face. What parts of your face, like the darkness, kind of really bothers you? Like, where is it that you feel that, okay, this really bothers me? My darkness on the under eye, or maybe it's the darkness on the upper eyelid, or maybe it's the whole area, maybe it's around the mouth. You really want to look at what really bothers you the most, and we're going to go in to kind of give that a little bit more coverage first. If you deal with the issue that is the biggest first, you'll find that the others look a lot like, they don't annoy you as much. So let's focus on that first. Now mine, I would say, is my kind of under eye area. Just here, I have a slight groove here, and it does kind of like just look a little bit darker. Plus I have this vein here that sometimes decides to just become a bit more prominent, and that just makes it worse. You could go in with a sponge here, but I do feel like when you use a sponge, you're covering a much larger surface area. So I am going to go in with my BK Beauty Nikki La Rose N16 brush. I'm going to really kind of like go into this, like really press the product into the brush, or press the brush into the product. And I'm going to now start kind of like going over this area here. So all I'm doing is just kind of very lightly patting this on. Try and focus on, if you're working on the dark circle, try and focus on the groove rather than very close to your lash line, because the minute you cover that up, you'll find that the rest of it doesn't look so bad. If you start from directly on the under eye area, like close to your lashes, that immediately is going to look quite mask-like. So you really want to work from the outside in. You'll find that you probably don't even need to go that close to the lower lash line. So I'm gonna go in here because this tends to be a bit dark for me here. And you really wanna make sure that you just blend the edges out. So you don't want to go too far down, but you want to make sure that there's not an obvious kind of like difference between your skin and the concealer. Do you now understand why your concealer needs to be very close to your skin color? Because we're not applying it everywhere. So you really don't want it to look like, okay, that's where she's applied concealer and that's her skin. Can you see already this has lightened it a lot more? Now I want to go in just with a little bit more, because I don't want to look tired. I want to look refreshed. Even though we don't have foundation, and I don't want to have to rely on applying this foundation kind of everywhere. Now there are just certain areas that I want to just press this into, just where I feel like I've got maybe a bit of darkness. This is usually the main area other than my dark circles. I'm quite happy with that. I feel like it's bright in the area. It doesn't look so bad. Now I'm not going to do the eyelid because I feel like I just want to wait until I've done the other side and then see whether I feel like I need anything there. It might just be whatever's left on the brush that I use. So I feel like it's a lot easier for me to kind of really cover this dark circle than the other side because it just is a little bit less prominent. So just make sure it's blended down. There you go. I'm happy with that. Now, whatever is left on your brush, you can go into the other areas. And this is where I would say I don't feel like you probably need as much now. So whatever's left on this brush, we're just going to go over the eye area. And this is more so to get rid of the kind of redness that I have there and just make it look, you know, so it's a bit more uniform, doesn't look so separate to the rest of the skin. I feel like that's okay. And again, you don't need to go into like really close to the lash line. I'm happy with that. I feel like my skin is looking good with like healthy skin. It's not looking like it's caked up and it still looks kind of healthy because that shine's coming through, that glow is coming through. Now before we go in with kind of setting this in certain areas, we want to apply just a bit of kind of color to the face. So I'm going to be using my Benefit Flora tint, and this is a really nice one because it's like a desert rose tinted shade. Now again, I'm going to put this at the back of my hand because I don't want to go straight onto the skin with anything. I'm using my Hourglass 15 brush and I'm just going to kind of really press this into this product, and this is where we're going to apply it right up here, just on the upper parts of the cheekbone, and that glow underneath is really going to come through as well. See that nice kind of healthy glow coming through? So now my face isn't looking so kind of like flat. You can apply this to like other areas if you want. Like if you want to apply it to like the lips, you can do that. Because sometimes I hear a lot of people saying that, you know, they find it difficult to get that flesh color to the lip. Like maybe their lips don't have that really nice natural color that they're looking for. So you can use something like this on the lips and it just gives it that slight tint. Okay, I'm happy with that. I feel like there's a bit of glow, a bit of blush coming through. Just making sure that I don't look like I'm half dead. So I just feel like it's giving me some color. I want you to remember that as you're looking at your skin before you've actually set it with any powder, don't start thinking to yourself, okay, I need more concealer. Because right now, if I was to look at my skin, I'd feel like, okay, I need a bit more concealer. Only as I'm applying blush, because I feel like all of a sudden, I feel like it just, whenever your skin is a bit more tacky and you've got liquid or cream on it and it's not been mattified, you're always going to see the kind of like, you know, the hollowness, the texture, and it's obviously not going to give you the best impression if you have real skin, which is, you know, you'll have a bit of texture, you've got open pores, you've got the acne scars. So I feel like that can always make you feel like, no, I need to go in with more concealer. Just trust the process. Wait until you've actually done the powder setting part, because that in itself can actually make it look less textured. It actually adds a tiny bit of coverage too. So just trust me and wait until then, because I feel like you're probably not going to need more concealer. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to setting. I'm going to use my Kosas Cloud Set in Breezy. This powder is so good. I used it the other day and I was like, wow. And this is a tiny bit brighter than my skin. Well, it's not a tiny bit, it's actually like at least a shade brighter, but I don't mind that because I feel like it gives me the brightness in those areas. So remember how I said we're going to use a concealer which is very close to our skin color, right? That's making sure that everything stays, you know, that we've got a nice kind of finish to the skin, and it doesn't look like I've applied really white under eyes. Everything kind of like blends in really well. Well, your powder can be a little bit lighter because what that does is sets it, but also just brightens where it needs to brighten, because we're not going to apply this everywhere. We're only going to apply this in the areas that we feel either come off very easily or crease very easily. You know, like the under eyes, the smile lines, a bit around the eyebrows, forehead, just areas but not over the entire face. Before we do that, we want to go back in with that brush to make sure that there's no creases anywhere. So we're just going to make sure that I haven't put any more product on this. This is just making sure there's no creases. And then obviously here, because I can really see those creases that formed there. Let's go ahead and set the eyelid first. So we're going to go in with my Real Techniques brush and just press this on. No one likes greasy eyelids, so I feel like this is a universal thing that everyone will do. Now we're going to go into the under eye area. You're really going to just press this in. Don't go along the cheek area at all. It's really just, it's kind of that triangle, that old school triangle that you do with kind of concealer. You know, where you go all the way there and then here. So you want to go along the side of the nose. See that? Already it's brightened it, but it looks better. The coverage is better. So it's amazing what powder can do. Like, don't just see it as just setting. It actually does give you a little bit of coverage. Just makes everything look better. Okay, now that we've done the under eye area, I'm happy with that. I want to go on to other areas that I'm not really keen on any shine being there. So that is mainly this area here. I don't like my brows to look shiny, so I'm going to go over my brows. And just the center here. There you go. You can still see I have a bit of shine that's coming through, but I'm happy with that. It's mainly this kind of like center section. I'm going to go over the nose. I'm not going right on the tip because I don't mind that being a bit shiny. Definitely going to do these smile lines. Now here, I just want to do this area here, not the area where I've applied any blush. See how as we turn the face, we've still got that shine that's coming through? I'm quite happy with that. So now I'm gonna go in with my Kosas Air Brow in dark brown, and I'm just gonna run this through my brows. This is also really good for covering up grey hairs in the brows. Let that dry off before we move in with the pencil, because they have one of the best eyebrow pencils I've used in a while. It is literally the smallest brow pencil. I think what's good about it is the fact that it doesn't actually break the way that other ones do. Meanwhile, I'm gonna use the Kosas The Sun Show in Escape. And this is a bronzer which has the most stunning sheen to it. It just looks like the desert. It looks so nice. So I'm gonna use the Kosas Contour Fan Brush, which I used the other day, and I'm really loving it because it's just so easy to contour with it. So I'm gonna go into this bronzer, and I am just gonna go right from the top of the ear. And that's just gonna give me a bit of kind of cheekbone there. I'm just gonna go along the perimeter of the face. Just gonna warm it up for me. I feel like as you continue, your skin's gonna look better and better. It's actually pretty crazy that I don't have foundation on, because all these different kind of textures that we're using is helping to kind of like just bring out your features and just make everything look a lot better. Okay, so I'm gonna go into my Fenty Beauty Sunstalker in Island Ting, my Fenty Beauty 200 brush. I'm gonna contour my nose as I usually do, because that's something I feel like just really helps to make you feel like, okay, your makeup isn't drastically different to how you usually do. It's just you've not had to rely on foundation. So all I do is go on the sides of the bridge of the nose, create a little V, and then cut it at the tip just above, and now I feel human. Now I'm going to go in with my Kosas Brow Pop in dark brown, ultra thin pencil, and I'm just going to create some flicks so that it just kind of thickens my brow a bit without kind of making it look overly drawn in. So just drawing some hair strokes underneath the brow. Okay, so I want to just curl my lashes because this is just going to make a huge difference. Like, do any of you guys actually apply mascara without curling your lashes? Obviously, if your lashes are already quite curly, then that's fine. Honestly, it's a game changer because your lashes are gonna look so different. Like, mascara actually looks so bad on straight lashes, so you really wanna kind of curl them. I'm gonna use my Charlotte Tilbury Exaggerize. I feel like this is a pretty good mascara. And I'm just gonna take that through the root. And I feel like, you know, when we talk about doing no foundation makeup looks, people just assume that everything has to be so low key on the face. But actually you can still go in with, like, you know, a really nice mascara to just make your eyes pop. Like, you don't have to focus on trying to make everything super natural. Like, even if you make most of your base look natural, go in with a really nice volumizing mascara. It's just gonna make the area pop a bit. It just makes it look like, okay, that's really nice, pretty makeup. It's weird, I can't describe this mascara because it's not like it's like, oh my god, you get the most amazing length from it. But it actually does do what it says, like it just exaggerates your lashes a bit. So it's not like looking like overly fake, like, oh, she put lashes on or anything. It really does just enhance your lashes. Now I really do want my kind of freckles to come through, so I'm gonna use the Kosas Air Brow. I'm gonna put a little bit of this on the back of my hand, get a super thin brush. So I'm using my Sigma E06 brush, and I'm just gonna like add little, or just not add, just kind of like enhance where I've already got my kind of freckles, sunspots, pigmentation, whatever you want to call it. But it just makes my skin look a bit more real when these kind of natural flaws are coming through. And I think this is a really good kind of shade to use. I've got so many on my nose. Like, just as I'm getting older, they're popping up everywhere. And you know what? I don't mind it. I'm gonna use my Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in 606 Wherever Walnut. And I'm just gonna just enhance my lip line. And as always, I like to just buff the lip line. Okay, I'm gonna use the Kosas Wet lip oil because I really liked this. This is in the shade Bear. It's like this latte colour, it's so nice. How nice is that? I love this. You can blot that if you want, but I quite like that kind of like really glossy lip look today with this kind of whole look. I just feel like it looks very summery, but also kind of just fresh. Like I don't feel like, you know, as soon as we hit fall, it doesn't mean you have to always wear darker colors. Like what if you still want to look fresh? What if you still want to look kind of like, you know, you just walked out of summer, you know? So I feel like this is a really nice look personally. I just feel like it's so nice that you don't have to wear foundation. You don't have to rely on that to complete a look. And this is really about you working with your natural contours of your face and just enhancing those areas. So hopefully this has given you a bit of a push to try doing this, to no foundation. Try it out and see what you think and let me know what you think. Don't forget that I do have an online publication called The Beauty Breakfast Club. It's a community that is rapidly growing. There are loads of articles on there, so much for you to read on there because it's been going for a while now. I write all of the newsletters myself. So if you head on over there, it is basically an online, it's like a magazine online. And there's two options of subscription. One is free, which gives you access to most of the site. The other is paid, which costs literally the equivalent of getting yourself one coffee a month. And it's your way to really help support me because obviously I give all this information on my YouTube channel for free. Supporting me over there on that really does help because it means that I can reinvest into my channel and give you the best possible content and upgrade things as we go along. Plus, that means that you get access to the entire site. You also get a chat room with me, which is really cool. That's a community we're building, all the paid subscribers, and it's really nice. I answer some questions that you may have and we just see how everyone's doing and it's really nice. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments box below. Don't forget, everything is listed in the description as always. There's also a new podcast out which I host with my husband. It's a very relatable podcast which is all about marriage and a bit of everything. So you might want to head on over there on my other YouTube channel. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. Until the next video, take care and I'll see you soon.